Hi, I'm H.G. Watson with Daily Extra. Today we're at the 519 in Toronto, Ontario for a rally in support of Ontario's updated sex education curriculum.
And growing up, we learned so quickly to be afraid of ourselves.
It's also great to see so many young people in this room, and not just like kids that have come with parents, but young people who are coming.
So I run a Twitter account called Sex Ed Ontario, and it includes quotes from the sex ed curriculum just to try and decrease the amount of misinformation around it, which is one of, I think, is the main barriers. And as well, like promoting other people's ideas, talking about sharing resources, kind of hopefully getting people informed and excited about the positive change that this curriculum is going to create.
Have you been surprised by some of the opposition that we've seen to the sex ed curriculum within the city of Toronto?
I am not surprised by that. In 2005 and 2006, during the equal marriage campaign, as we were getting to the final days, there was certainly a lot of opposition that was organized largely by social conservatives within racialized communities, the Baptist churches, the Catholic churches, and I saw busloads of Asian people who've never protested in their lives all being taken to Parliament Hill to protest equal marriage. So I'm seeing on Queen's Park, on the lawn of Queen's Park, what I think is the same thing that I saw back in the 2000s, and that's organized religion that's advocating for a stop to this curriculum.
Yeah, I mean, I speak from the position of a person of faith, where for me, faith has been about liberation and about knowledge and about empowerment. And yet a lot of the discourse against this legislation and the implementation of this curriculum is faith-based.
A lot of the focus in the media has been about Muslim parents that have been against the curriculum. Do you think that the coverage has been unfairly directed at the Muslim community?
I don't know whether it's been unfair, because certainly there has been opposition. There is opposition from some sections of the Muslim community, but the Muslim community is not monolithic. So I think it's fair to report, but there are also diverse Muslim voices, and some of them are silent voices that have no problem with the curriculum. But unfortunately, the ones that are given voice or take up the most space are the voices that might be seen as being not open or inclusive voices.
So Planned Parenthood was one of the people behind the Support Sex Ed hashtag. How did that go on Twitter in the weeks sort of following all the protests that happened?
Yeah, so the Support Sex Ed hashtag was kind of our way to contribute to this conversation. In the weeks following it, like I just did some data yesterday, and it seems like we've had over 15,000 tweets to date with over 5,000 contributors. It's been really fascinating to see the uptake of it. It trended nationally that evening, and in the city for the entire day. And it's actually been picked up by the US as well as a hashtag to use for their own conversations, which has been really fascinating to watch. On Facebook, it's had its own uptake, and I think Facebook is where the really meaningful conversations happen in communities with people talking with their friends and their networks. And we've seen almost 500 shares of the images that we've created to kind of help start the conversation for folks.
When you've been having those conversations, you mentioned that people often cite innocence as the reason they don't want to talk to their children about these issues. How do you respond to those kind of concerns?
Yeah, I think we let the youth speak for themselves. So a lot of the messages that we've put out there have come from youth directly, and youth are telling us what they need and what they don't need, right? And youth are telling us they want more sexual health info. They want ways to learn media literacy and being able to know what sexualization and what it looks like to have consent and healthy relationships. So we take our cue from them and be able to take that to communities further to be like, hey, innocence looks a certain way, and that like talking about consent and relationships in an age-appropriate way isn't ruining kids' innocence.
Great, thank you so much.